Very good morning, students. Welcome back to another class on business English and communicative skills. Good morning, Vita. So, as you all know that we had discussed about listening skills yesterday. We were talking about the importance of listening skill, why one should focus on listening skill. What are the benefits that you're going to derive if you have good listening skills, right? So, let us understand today what benefits you're going to gain if you are practicing your speech. That means whenever you have to speak, whenever you have to communicate, particularly in oral form, how can you communicate effectively? How can you bring in that efficiency? How can you have that command over your speech? Let us understand about these three things today in our class. So when I say speech, please remember speech, it doesn't mean that only on certain occasion you people are going to speak. There can be every day number of communication. Sometimes it may extend for a minute or so. Sometimes it could be even less than a minute. But when you are communicating, when you are sharing, when you are informing, when you are ordering, when you are commanding, when you are requesting, when you are dictating, whenever you are having any information that is there in your mind, and when you want to share it with the others, particularly in oral form, not in the written, but in oral speech, wherein you directly communicate with the concerned people. That is the place where you are going to use the speech. Now, speech or the speaking skills that one should practice must keep in mind three important things. That is, audience. If you are not thinking about audience, if you are not paying attention towards your audience, who your audience would be, you cannot prepare your speech in an effective way. Second, speaking and listening goes hand in hand. That means whenever we speak, there is a person or there can be a group of people who are listening to you. And if you are listening, that means there is somebody else who is speaking. So speaking and listening goes hand in hand. Many of time we don't talk to others, we do self-talk. Even at that time, your mind is listening to you. And if your mind is not accepting your thoughts, you will certainly see that you will not gain that confidence. So keep this in your mind that audience matters a lot. Speaking and listening goes hand in hand. And third, the way you communicate, that is soft spoken. You should remember even the toughest things can be very easily communicated if you apply or if you bring in softness in your voice. All right. So let us understand that if we really want to improvise our speaking skills, what are the things that we have to keep in our mind? In what way can we bring efficiency in our speech? So moving ahead, proceeding ahead, as I have already said or discussed, speakers are those who prepare their day, who make their day, who create or bring in achievement or the joy of success and happiness in their life. One single day, when you are going to start a day, and if you start with a harsh word, if you are starting with a word wherein you are showing your negativity, wherein you are showing your dissatisfaction, wherein you are not able to show up the positivity in your words, you will see the whole day gets ruined. So therefore keep this in your mind that the way you're going to start your communication, the way you're going to speak with others matters a lot. So it makes your day, it carries throughout the day. A good public speaker will always think about great values. When I say value, always remember it is the respect that we give first. Only then we can expect respect from others. If you don't give respect and always expect respect from others, you are never ever going to gain it. So keep this in your mind. Respect, getting value, getting attention to what you are saying, all these needs your way of communication. That is, you have to pay respect, you have to give respect first. The beautiful saying also says give respect and take respect. So always be there in a soft way. Present your thoughts, present your action, present your ideas, present your communication so that people can give respect to you, value your words. Most of our time in 24 hours, if you delete, if you subtract 8 hours for your rest and relaxation, out of that 16 hours, we spend 30% of 16 hours in speaking. We may be talking with our family members, we may be talking to our friends, we may be talking with our other members of family, or to the neighbors, or to our friends, or to teachers. There are n number of people are surrounding you, so you may be communicating with them. So 30% of our time is spent in speaking. So it is very important to manage your mouth. That is what should come out of your mouth. This is very, very important. Are you going to hurt? Are you going to appreciate? Are you going to praise? Are you going to show your authority? Are you going to command? Are you going to insult? Are you going to neglect? Are you going to deny? There are a lot many emotions, expressions which you convey with the help of your words, along with your body language, and that matters a lot. So managing the mouth is very, very important, because once the word that comes out, that is again cannot be taken back. That is something which has already pierced into the heart of the listener. So therefore you should be very calculative, you should be accountable for what you are speaking, and think many a times, probably think twice at least, to share any information, to come out with any information, and see that you are not hurting others, you are not hurting the emotion, you are not hurting the feeling, you are not hurting the kind of behavior of yours with other. Speaking well is a skill, and this can be improvised. No one can say that I'm born with the speaking skill. No, we all practice it. So even right now, at the age of 21, 22, 23, if you believe, you may, if you are not that good enough in speaking, you need not worry, because this is a skill which can be improvised. You can start today and you can bring in that proficiency within a month, or probably 2 or 3. So work out on your speaking skills. This can be gained, this can be acquired, this can be attained by regular practice. So keep this in your mind, that when I say speaking and when I say communication, I'm not talking only about English language. I mean to say, even when you are speaking Hindi, even when you are speaking Maithili or Bhojpuri or Maghi or any other local or the language that is spoken in a particular region, you should have the same thought process, the same command, the same connection with your audience, so that you can always create that positive attitude, and that positivity should be shared from your speech to the listener's mind. So keep this in your mind, that when we talk about effective communication, of course, English is a major part. But apart from English, even in other languages, you have to work out the same kind of application. And the application should be practiced, so that whenever you are communicating with either your friends or your colleagues or your peers or your seniors or juniors, one should respect you. One should have that feeling of respect towards you because of your communication skill, because the way you are communicating really touches their heart. So how can we bring in that efficiency? This would be a major question when I talk about bringing efficiency, developing efficiency. Certainly, you all may say it's very easy to say that you have to improve your speaking skills. You have to have good command over your speech. But how to develop it? These are only 5 major things which you have to work out. And even not only in India, globally, wherever you go, whatever language you people want to speak, you should remember only these 5 will bring in positive change in your speaking skill. Point 1, work out on your verbal and non-verbal communication. I want you to recall any of the incidents wherein your friend was saying something, but his expressions or her expressions were not matching to what he or she was trying to communicate or convey. And you could understand the right feeling, the right emotion, the right expression. Did it happen with you? Probably when you were buying a watch, probably when you went to a place where the person was not liking, he was disinterested or she was disinterested to go to that particular place, and then their expressions and emotions made you feel that yes, he or she is not liking it at all. So did it happen with you anytime? Did you have any kind of comments from your parents, probably from your brother or sister, who said that okay, fine, this particular jeans is okay, but with their expressions, you could understand that though they are saying yes, it is okay, but they are not liking it. Did it happen with any of you? Quickly, I am waiting for your responses in the chat box. So I get answers. Now, are these the honest answers, sincere answer, or again, are you doing it just for the sake of writing yes or no? If it is a sincere answer, can you explain the object which made you feel, or you could understand that yes, this is something which the other person is not liking, and you could identify not with the words but with the expressions and emotions? Can you recall that incident and can you connect? Was that related to your marks? Was that related to your mobile? Okay, when I cook something, say Simran Kumari, excellent. Yes, this happens. Whenever we start cooking, when we are new to cookery, what we do, we cook and then we present our dish in front of our parents, right? Okay, watching TV ads. Wonderful. Yes, sure, this may happen. Okay. So was that a comment related to the product or the advertisement? What was it, Shivam? Can you give me a detail? So was it a gap or a different thought related to a product, related to the services, or should we not watch television ad? Uh, was the communication related to watching ads, good or bad? Okay, it was related to the content and the product. Very good. Yes, this happens in everybody's house, isn't it? We start arguing, and when we start arguing, we take one particular step and we say that this is good, and the other person may say no, this is good, right? So yes, this happens, and you can identify very easily with the help of their expressions rather than with the words what they are speaking, right? So what about the rest? You never had any kind of like interaction with the people where what they are saying is totally different from what they are expressing through their facial expressions, through their body language? Hmm? Never it had happened? I'm still waiting for the responses from the others. So Aradhana, when she buys any product, okay. So who is it that tells you that okay, fine, this is good, this is not good, but you can very easily identify through the expression that okay, fine, let me keep it aside. The person is not liking. Is it your mother or father or a brother or a sister, or could be a friend? Well, when you see such kind of instances, very easily you can identify with the help of the expression, isn't it? And whenever we talk about expression, expressions are part of the body language. So keep this in our in the mind whenever we communicate, whenever we are trying to share our feelings and emotion, it must match with our expression. Say, for example, when I say Aradhana is a hardworking girl, now, this expression should match with my expression that I am having on my face. All right. I may be saying in an ironical way. All right. I hope everybody knows what an irony is. So, in a sarcastic way, I may not be saying the truth, but just sharing the information, uh, but my expressions are totally out of the meaning and understanding of that particular subject or the statement. So keep this in your mind that verbal and non-verbal matters a lot. So particularly when you are into the management, when you are dealing with your clients, whenever you are sitting in front of your seniors or boss or anyone, you can very easily identify whether they are in congregation or in sync with you or not, whether they are really thinking in exactly the same way the way you are thinking or you want to approach. And that could be identified with the help of the expressions. Do you remember during the interview process, when we were talking about stage 3 of the preparation, I have very clearly stated that once when the interview is over, when you enter into stage 4, Look for the observation, like observe the body language of the interviewer, look for the words that can give you a clue whether you are selected or rejected. Identify through the body language of the interviewer whether he or she liked your candidature, liked your liked your answers, responses or not. Right. So how are you going to do that? Once again, you have to focus on the verbal as well as non-verbal. As you can see that 90% of the effect comes from non-verbal. So whatever you are saying, of course, that matters a lot. But along with what you are presenting, again, you should always remember that 90% of the effect will come from the nonverbal. So nonverbal cannot be ignored. When I say nonverbal, keep this in your mind. We are talking about eye contact. We are talking about the different facial expressions. We are talking about the gesture. We are talking about the posture of the body. All right. So please keep this in your mind. Nonverbal matters a lot. The next is the content that you are presenting. This counts a lot. So the subject knowledge is must, and you should have the right access towards the right sources. Say, for example, if I give you a topic, the employment and unemployment problem. Say, for example, if I say, write an essay on unemployment, right? An essay on unemployment. What are the things that you're going to do? How are you going to find the information? Quickly in the chat box. Can you write an essay on unemployment? Yes. As a student of management, can you write an essay? Yes. Yes, you all can write. Aradhana says yes. Silky says yes. Shubham says yes. What about the rest? You have a doubt whether you will be able to write or not? Thank you, Farid, for your response, dear. Thanks, Sunny, for giving that response, dear. But what about the rest? What about Daya Kanthodar? What about Prashant? You people will not be able to write the like essay on this particular topic. Once when you are going to write this information, what are you going to do? From where are you going to collect the information? From where are you going to pull the information here? From where you are going to search for the information for this particular essay? You will be definitely browsing, right? And when you start browsing, many a times what we do, yes, from Google, from Bing, from the different browsers, web browsers, what do? We start searching and we look for the different web pages wherein we can get the information related to unemployment, right? Now, how will we come to know whether the source is right or wrong? Do you know from where to get the right sources, right information? Now, this is very important for the students of management. You should remember Ministry of HRD. That is again going to help you. Ministry of Economics again can be one of the source, because when we talk about economy of the nation, it is again totally dependent on the total population along with the money that we are earning, and that gives us the per capita income. And when we talk about the reason for poor per capita income or low per capita income when compared to other developing or developed nation, the point is we have the different kinds of unemployment. You must have heard about unemployment, a kind which is very common in India is disguised. All right. So did you hear this word, disguised unemployment, wherein a person, say for example, for a piece of work, if we require five, we hire seven, and two people are doing exactly the kind of work which could be done easily by five people. So these two are unwanted for that particular job, but still they are engaged. So this is called as disguise. They pretend as if they are working, but in fact their services is actually not required. So keep this in your mind that whenever we are talking about sources, you should know from which source am I collecting. Wikipedia, is that a right source? Can you collect the information, facts and figures, evidences and proof from Wikipedia? What is your opinion? Yes? No? Shubham, you are right. Farid, you should always be very thoughtful whenever you people are collecting information from Wikipedia. No, you should not take the information from Wikipedia because it is an open source. Anybody or everyone has the right to edit the information, to share the information. So therefore, Wikipedia may not be advised. All right. So you should remember that the source from where you are collecting the content is very, very important. It could be from the department of the various segments or sectors. You can talk about agriculture, because agriculture, the primary sector, the primary segment of India. So, for example, when we talk about the major employment that comes from agriculture or agro-based industry, then comes the manufacturing, then comes the services. And if we talk about the current India, it is the services which is providing n number of jobs, not only in our nation but also across the country. So know the right sources, and content that you are presenting matters a lot. Say, for example, if you are speaking something which is known to the other person, if you are standing in front of others, and a person who is sitting in front of you as an audience, if he or she knows what you are going to present, will they have any interest towards listening to you? Will they get attracted? Will they like to listen to you? If you also know the same thing, they also know the same thing, do you think that interest, do you remember the technique ida that we have discussed? Attention, interest, desire, and action. Do you think will they get will they get that complete attention to listen to you? Quickly in the chat box, I want to know from you all, do you think it is going to connect you with the audience? Do you think that would be the right step, that would be the right way of sharing the information and hooking the audience? When you are saying something and the other person is also aware of the same information, no, Silky, it is not possible to hook the audience, because what you are sharing, even the other person knows about it. Audience will be interested to know about those information which they don't. All right. So, how many of you? Let me explain you with a simple example. You have already watched a movie. Could be any movie, a latest movie. You had been to a theater to watch that particular movie. You have spent a good handsome amount on watching that particular movie, and you have come to know that the movie is okay. You can watch it once or twice, but every now and then, if your friends keep saying that, okay, fine, let us go and watch the same movie, what are you going to do? Will you say yes or no? Will you agree to watch the same movie in the theater maybe 5 times, 6 times, 7 times? No, because you have already taken a decision and you have already come to know about the plot, you have already come to know about the storyline, you have already come to know about the complete the story, and then you have already watched it, you have already seen it. So therefore, you are not going to have that interest, right? So similarly, when we are speaking and when our audiences are already knowing that piece of information, exactly the same way, they will also not have any interest. So you should always remember, when you stand in front of the audience, you should give them something new. That innovation should be there, that creativity should be there, that kind of new information should get included in your speech so that people can get hooked up. All right. So that is the reason why, particularly for the management students, it becomes your responsibility to look for the latest information, to look for the information from the right sources, to look for the information from different books, from different web portals or web pages, from where you can get the relevant information, right information, and which can attract the audience a lot. All right. Then the next third statement is choice of words. Many a times, in order to prove that we are good speakers, we start using unfamiliar words, tough words, technical terms, and then we use lot many acronyms. Again, this is poor speaking skill. If you really want to become a good speaker, keep this in your mind. How can you create that strong, vibrant emotions and impression in the mind of the listener? One, avoid using jargon. When I say jargon, jargons are all technical terms. All right. Now, technical terms are those which can be used only in front of the other technical person. Say, for example, when you are pursuing management, all right, uh, probably you people are going to study about this in future, but to just give you an example, just in time, there is a phrase called just in time. And whenever you are doing any project very regularly, you will be using this particular jargon, JIT, JIT, which stands for just in time. So now when somebody says JIT, or get it done in JIT, or ASAP, now this is again very common word which you will come across whenever you are emailing or when you receive the email from the other. as soon as possible. They don't use as soon as possible. They will be using the acronym ASAP. Now, similarly, unfamiliar words are those which are not commonly used by all of us. Say, for example, you are a great orator. Instead of speaker, if I use the word orator, or this creates ambiguity. Instead of confusion, if people says ambiguity, here there is a conglomeration. Instead of using a group of people from the different places, if they are using conglomeration. So keep this in your mind. Unfamiliar words may sound very good. People may say that, oh wow, look, the words which he or she is using are good, heavy words. But in fact, it is creating disinterest in the mind of listeners because they cannot understand. So jargons, as I said, technical terms. How many of you know what CPU is? How many of you know what CPU is? Do you all know what CPU is? What are the functions of CPU? Yes. But in front of a layman, the one who never used a computer, the one who is not aware of using computers, if you say in front of him that bring the CPU, the problem is in CPU, or the problem is with the ROM or RAM, do you think they will be able to understand? Yes. Will they be able to understand in front of a common man if you are saying that the problem is in with your ROM, the problem is in your CPU, the problem is with your PC, that is again personal computer? They may not be able to understand because these are the technical jargons which are used by technical people. And as a technical person, when you are having a word with other technical person, no problem, because you both know what the technical terms are, you know exactly what the jargons are, right? So if Shubham is talking to Aradhana and he says that, look, I think there is a problem in your CPU, Aradhana can understand because even she knows what CPU is. So using technical terms or using jargons when you are having discussion with the other expert or technical expert, no problem at all. I repeat, you can use jargons when you are having communication, discussion, sharing information from one person, from one technical expert with other technical expert. But when I talk about the common people, or when I talk about those people who are not part of that particular organization, and you cannot assume, you cannot expect that the other person may know all these things. So in such situation, avoid jargon. So please keep this in your mind. We should not use acronyms, as I've said, ASAP or GIT. Do not use unfamiliar words, the tough words which are difficult for people to know. Remember the 3S, the golden 3S that we always follow in our communication: short, simple, and straightforward. It should be easy to understand, it should be simpler to understand, it should be shorter in context, and then straightforward to the point, so that the speaker, when he or she is communicating, listener can get exactly the right image, the right picture, and people will enjoy. People will definitely like doing it. All right. So keep this in your mind that choice of words matter a lot. What kind of words you are using, whether they are jargons, if they are jargons, and if you are talking to a person who is not a technical expert, avoid using jargons. Unfamiliar words must be avoided. Using acronyms, too many acronyms, again, this should be avoided. Then, how do we catch attention of the listener? We started working on our verbal and non-verbal skills. We thought of preparing the content, and prepare after preparing, practicing, and then presenting. We have chosen the right words. Now comes how to grab the attention of the listener. Please remember, try to connect audience with an interesting anecdote. Anecdote is the story that had happened either in your life or in somebody else's life, but that can hook you, that can connect you with the audience. Say, for example, you went on a travel to Dehradun, you went on a travel to Siliguri, you went to Kolkata, or probably you were traveling to Patna, and there was a very interesting story which talks about the problems that a common person face. It could be related to the inconvenience that you had faced because of poor transportation facility, or could be related to poor infrastructure, or could be related to some or the other instances which can connect you with the audience. Always remember, such stories, such interesting things that had happened in your life will always bridge the gap between you and the listener. All right. So please include stories, add humor, not to insult others. Many a times when you are including humor, when you are adding any joke, you should see that the joke that you are using, the humor that you are using should always lighten the environment, must always connect you with the audience instead of humiliating or insulting. Many a times you must have seen people use wonderful quotes and quotation from the great speakers. So that is again a good way to start. Either the thought-provoking ideas. Sometimes you can also start with a question. If you really want to grab the attention of the audience, you can give a wonderful question, and then the responses may also come from the audience. That will again help you to speak, to communicate very well with the audience, and that will also show you whether they are participating or not, whether they are having that interest level or not. So keep that in your mind. And at the same time, please not to forget, share the statistics. People like to know more about numbers. They are fond of listening to statistics. So keep this in your mind. Statistics matter a lot. All the statistical information will add on more importance, more value to your words than just giving the textual information. All right. And finally, the rate at which you transmit the information. You should not be too slow, nor you should speed like a speed in your speed of information that you are willing to share. It has to have a proper understanding. Whatever words you say, whatever sentences that you utter, whatever the information that you are sharing in the form of a paragraph, each and every word must get registered in the mind of the listener, and they can exactly draw the right picture. They should understand exactly the information that you are trying to share in the right way. All right. When you do this, certainly your efficiency can be appreciated and people would love to listen to you. People would like to listen to you. So I hope everybody will start working out on these five effective ways of speaking, because if you practice, trust me, boys and girls, just have faith on yourself. Start getting up every day and start sharing one single information to your mind that today I'm going to bring positive change in my own personality. I will change myself into a better human being. And how can you change yourself into a better human being? By only thinking about yourself. Even yesterday, I ended up with the same statement. Today, again, I say the same thing. Please remember, if you want to change yourself, you have to think not only once or twice, but many number of times that how can you bring that positivity. When you are having that positive attitude, of course you are going to start your complete attention or your preparation would be on not only the content but also on the way you're going to deliver the content. And that is what the first statement says: verbal plus non-verbal. When we say verbal, verbal is related to content. Content is again connected with the choice of words. Content is again connected with the anecdotes, or with the quotations, or with the thought-provoking question, or with interesting statistics, and how fluently you are going to speak. But please remember, with all these, you have to include the non-verbal. If you are not including the non-verbal, again, it is going to create problem. So when we talk about connecting with the audience, your speech could be impromptu. Say, for example, you're working in an organization and you have come to know the training period is over, the orientation, induction period is over. You are working in a company for more than 2 months. So, say, for example, after 2 months, your boss and you went to meet a client. All of a sudden, your boss had to attend a very important call and he cannot avoid taking up that particular call. So, what are you going to do? Are you going to sit quietly and will you say that let my boss come because it is he who is going to present the information? I will be here listening to you as well as to my boss. What do you think that what are you going to do? Are you going to quickly step into the shoes of your boss? Will you start presenting? Can you do that? Yes. Can you do that? Do you think that is the right step that you should do? Shubham, no. Sorry, dear. This would be a wrong answer. Simran, yes, you should do. That is what is the difference between a manager. You should remember, as a manager, of course, your boss, when he is engaged, you should immediately step into his shoes and you should let the client know about your product and services. You cannot wait for your boss and you cannot say that let my boss come, let him finish his call. which may go for maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you and the other person are going to watch each other. No, you're not going to do that. At that time, you will become an impromptu speaker. What do we understand by impromptu? We don't take any time to prepare. We instantly start speaking because already we think that the necessary preparations are done, made by us. All right. So please remember, impromptu are those speeches where you don't take much time, or probably you don't take at all any time to prepare and to speak. Prompt means instantly. All right. So, for example, if I ask you, what's your name? Can I get the answer? So, are you going to think? Are you going to wait for someone else to give you the permission to say, okay, fine, this is the good time. Now you respond to what Neeru is asking you. I'm still waiting for the responses. I did not get anybody's response. So you don't even remember what your name is. Amazing. So as I can see that Shilki is saying that her name is Silky, of course. So you don't require somebody else's permission. That is called as impromptu. It happens instantly. All right, dear. Remember, impromptu is instant. Impromptu means quick, very quick, without any time for preparation. All right. Now the next is extempore. Say you are once again working in an organization and your boss had asked you to prepare a presentation, and you are going to give this presentation to the client next Saturday. Are you going to wait for impromptu, or are you going to prepare? What is your option? Will you say that, sir, I'm very confident person, I know about all the products and services, I can speak immediately once when the client is going to come? Or are you going to prepare? What is your answer? Will you prepare or will you speak impromptu? Very good, Farid. This time, Farid, you are right. And Simran, you are not going to have that impromptu speech because a week is there with you. All right. So you will find out who the client is, what his or her requirement are, and then in what way you are going to convince them so that they can say okay to your product or the services. So keep this in your mind whenever you get the time. The kind of preparation that you do or in order to present, in order to share the information is called as extempore. All right. Remember the difference. Impromptu, no time. You are having no time at all to prepare for any content. But when we talk about when the time is there, when you can make necessary changes in your content, whenever you can prepare the wonderful content, then that would be called as extempore. All right. Role play is when you are stepping into somebody else's roles, responsibilities. Once again, I'll take the same example which I've quoted for impromptu. Now your manager and you both were working on same project. It was you who has prepared the complete presentation and you handed it over to your manager on the very fine day when you were supposed to give the presentation. Your manager is not well. So will you say that let us postpone the meeting, or will you say let me go and give the presentation so that the client will have the complete information? What is it that you are going to do? Will you give the presentation? If you are going to give the presentation, quickly in the chat box G. And if you don't give the presentation, ignore I. See, I got the wonderful answer from Shubham Anand, and everybody, Aradhana, Sunny, Silky, everybody says that yes, you are going to go and give the presentation, right? What are you doing? You are taking the responsibility of your manager, and you have already done necessary preparation, right? Yeah. So what are you going to do? You are taking up the roles and responsibility which actually you were not supposed to do, but in the situation in due because of the certain circumstances, what had happened, you have to take the role of the manager, and then you are stepping into his shoes or her shoes and then do the needful. So that is called as role play. Now how if there is a report to be presented, you all are management student, you know that there can be number of reports that you are going to prepare and present, and the report will be a lengthier one. Can we give impromptu extempore speech to present the report? No, we can't because it is too lengthy. We require written material. We require the material wherein we can have all those evidences and proof. When we write and when we share the information in front of others, that is called as manuscript. How many of you have seen Narendra Modi giving speech at the different conferences wherein the material is prepared and then he reads from the material? Or probably you must have seen our budget. Whenever the budget is prepared and the finance minister presents the budget, he or she reads from the paper. Have you seen this happening? Not only this time, I'm talking in general. Whenever a budget report is presented, whenever the budget is prepared for the next financial year, they read it, isn't it? They read it from the different papers. What are they doing? They are giving a speech. What kind of speech it is? Manuscript speech. Wherein a manuscript is prepared. Manuscript means written material is there. A supportive document or a written material is there. In extempore, you prepare, and then without those handouts, without those materials, you're going to present your logical opinion and idea. Impromptu, as it is happening all of a sudden, instantly, so you get nothing time, no time at all to prepare, and you will have no manuscript. But when you are given ample of time to prepare, you can use manuscript also. And then finally, debate. A debate is a common thing which you all know, right? Whenever we talk about debate, debate is related to the information where people may have different opinion, different choices, right? People may talk in different opinion based on their information, based on their likes and dislikes. You may agree, you may disagree, you may talk in favor, you may talk against. So there can be different kinds of speech. You have to keep this in your mind. It could be impromptu, it could be extempore, it could be role play, it could be manuscript, or it could be in the form of debate. So whenever there is a group discussion, certainly you people are going to adapt the way, the way you are going to communicate would be debate, right? So as a manager, if somebody says speech, you should not say that, okay, fine, let me get a topic and I'll prepare the speech. No, we are not talking about a topic. We are talking about every day's part and parcel of our life, every instance of our life where we have to speak. Sometimes we may speak impromptu, sometimes we present extempore, sometimes it is the role play that we do. So, for example, your father is not at the place where he works, and you have a business, and you are sitting in the shop which is actually run by your father. Now if he is not there, you immediately step into his shoes, isn't it? What are you doing? You're becoming the shop owner and you sell the product. That is role play. Don't get confused. It's not mimicry, it is not acting like someone. It is taking up the roles and responsibilities. That is called as role play. All right, dear. Manuscript, as I have said, it is to be read from the information that you want to share, and finally debate the information that is shared wherein there are two different options and choice. So if you perform in these ways, certainly your speaking skills are going to improve. Work out on effective skills and also know what are the different various kinds of speeches that you are going to use in your day-to-day life. That's all in today's class. So with this, we have completed about speaking skill. On Wednesday, we are going to start on presentation skill. Our topic would be on presentation skill. I will be sharing the assignment, as I've said yesterday, based on interview skills today. So I'll appreciate if you can really work out on that assignment and share it before Wednesday. If in case if you have any doubt, you can open up, you can get the doubts cleared. Otherwise, thank you very much for attending today's class. We will meet back once again on Wednesday. Thank you, everyone.